of the plant and the animal species.
A comprehensive and coordinated preparedness and response is crucial for effective management of a possible oil spill disaster.
We ensure that training is conducted with drills and stimulation exercises to support tier 2 response capability by lead agencies, including downstream operations.
Our discovery of oil is not a curse. We've been able to benchmark and we've been able to make corrections from the mistakes that other countries have done. So for us, we are happy, we are moving slowly, but we shall arrive without casualties. We shall arrive and get our oil off the ground.
Uganda's oil and gas activities are taking place in a pristine and fragile ecosystem, and thus the need for proactive measures to protect human health, environment, and investment assets. Some of the environmental vulnerabilities and their potential for exposure include soil living organisms, water, marine life, plants, birds, and mammals.
It is a scenario-based document that theorizes all possible scenarios. The worst case scenario, if it happens, how do we respond? And it's contingent upon events and enlists contacts, resource lists, and strategies to assist in responding to a spill.
Experience around the world is that many countries put plans like this in place long after they have produced oil, but also, unfortunately, after incidents that are not desirable have occurred. So it's important to recognize that it's been foresight by this government to have put this in place.
Thousands of minor and major oil spills related to well discharges and tankers operations are reported each year, with a total quantity of oil released annually into the world's water bodies exceeding 1 million metric tons. The release of liquid petroleum hydrocarbon into the environment can have massive consequences, and therefore the launch of this plan by government can come in handy in curbing any future occurrences. Dennis Ikoa for UBC News in Kampala.
The rise in prices of essential commodities such as cooking oil, grocery, washing soap and matoke is causing panic across the country. Manufacturers are warning of long-standing imported inflation and hard economic times. The rise of commodity prices since January 2022 is being attributed to global factors and high transportation costs. Besides crude oil, price hikes for commodities like cooking oil, soap, steel and bread, whose raw materials are largely produced by Russia and Ukraine, are early signs of a long-standing inflation to importing countries like Uganda.
Uganda has been a little bit lucky that the manufacturers have been able to absorb most of these costs, because we are a little bit disadvantaged that we do not have a coastline, so it's a very expensive operation destination, but somehow we managed to bring our members to terms so that they can, in a way, they have tried to absorb, but it also has limits.
Many Ugandans are concerned about the hikes in commodity prices and are wondering what could be the cause. Could it be local issues like the current tax regime by government, the increase in fuel prices, or external factors like the war in Ukraine?
Yeah, it's a combination of issues, both internal and external. And as many have alluded, there are also post-COVID effects, particularly in high demand. You remember we have just reopened the economy, so there's high demand, yet the supplies cannot respond as quickly as possible.
For example, manufacturers of cooking oil and soap are buying palm oil, the main raw material, between $1,980 to $2,800 per metric ton, down from $800 before January 2022.
Malaysia is one of our biggest sources of raw material for the production of palm oil. And Malaysia, in January, even before anything else, they passed a law or a regulation that requires that 20% of their oil is supposed to be sold locally. And the producers of this oil are supposed to subsidize the prices by almost half, okay? And therefore they had to look for alternatives of where they should get revenue to subsidize. And the next best alternative was to raise the price on the exports.
And that has been everywhere, not only in Uganda. As you know, even the inflation rate in the US is now at 7%. First time in 40 years. Never happened before. Kenya, they're complaining of the same food prices. So internally, that's what I would say. We reopened the economy, but we didn't think about the other rules which come with it.
According to manufacturers, other regional factors influencing price include the high cost of logistics on road transport due to fuel hikes, the high taxes levied on raw materials and external transport sources, and the high cost of electricity. For UBC News, Wadulo Makanold. Uganda is targeting China's massive population to grow its agricultural exports. This was disclosed at the Uganda Coffee Day 2022, held in the South Coffee Frontier Hub of Gwanzu and Uma Grounds in Kampala. The function also marks the 60th anniversary celebration of the diplomatic relations between China and Uganda.
Uganda Coffee Day 2022, which involved a professional cupping session of coffee samples, sought to strengthen bilateral ties between Uganda and China and also promote the flagship Robusta coffee.
There's a Chinese population of 1.4 billion. If only we can get anything up to about 250 million cups of coffee a day. Okay, that's 100 cups of coffee of Uganda coffee. That will be a fantastic achievement. And I'm sure that the MD here will be able to achieve that in a very short time.
The demand for Ugandan coffee on the Chinese market has grown over the years, but the target of exporting at least 1.8 million bags per annum is yet to be achieved.
To increase the import of coffee and other agricultural products from Uganda is one of our priorities for the embassies. We hope to see more import of these fine quality agricultural products, including coffee. I know the coffee already being in Chinese market.
We are one of the first in the Chinese market, so there is presence and visibility of Ugandan coffee. So we are not starting from scratch, and some of the initiatives we have come up with our coffee promotion strategy is online marketing, where we can have the youth, actually even here in Uganda, trading online. They don't have to be in China.
Besides commercial diplomacy being fronted by government, there is increased public and private sector collaboration geared at growing exports. One such initiative is the ongoing Dubai Expo 2020.
Traditionally, we have been focusing on Europe, but Middle East, they have quite a good disposable income, and they are joining coffee drinking culture. So this is also a good boost to our coffee farmers. Get organized in the coffee organizations, cooperatives, and access the markets rather than exporting through the big multinationals.
Despite China being one of Uganda's biggest trade partners, there is a glaring disparity in trade volumes. In 2019, Uganda's exports to China was valued at $40.4 million, while China's exports were worth $741 million. Charlotte Amuge and Dennis Igor for UBC News.
Uganda has been unveiled as Africa's innovation powerhouse. By branding and marketing the country as a business process outsourcing and innovation destination, government is expecting to attract significant investment in the ICT sector. Meanwhile, Uganda is set to showcase some of its innovations at the Dubai Expo 2020 Innovation Week that runs from the 22nd to the 27th of March.
It is time they learned that they could still offer their expertise or services while still in their countries of residence. It's time they learned that they could be the third party taking care of businesses overseas, services like legal services, digital marketing, human resource, customer services, research and analysis. Better yet, they could still get the job and learn at it, because not to tease what you know now, you once knew not. Business process outsourcing is the future. Embrace it.
That's business processing outsourcing, demystified by a poet, Hawa Chimbugwe. Business process outsourcing is a method of subcontracting various business-related operations to third-party vendors. For example, a telecom company based in Cleveland, Ohio, can have its customer service call center manned by Ugandans and based here in Uganda instead of having physical presence in the USA. Many businesses world over, from small startups to large companies, are presently tapping into this innovative service. That's the drive by the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance to have Uganda as a BPO destination.
The Ministry of ICT and National Guidance is going to create and implement a comprehensive branding and marketing strategy that shall build the right impetus to scale export opportunities for the Ugandan enterprises in the global market. Some countries are now proving that the concept works in the context of BPO and ICT as well.
Through BPO and innovation promotion, the ministry is working towards enabling market-oriented innovation, connecting the best of businesses, talent and ideas from around the world. Labor availability, internet connectivity, cost of internet, and enabling environment are some of the value propositions Uganda will leverage on to position herself as Africa's innovation powerhouse, according to ICT and National Guidance Minister Chris Wariomosi.
We have invested in the education of our young people. We have a talented and highly educated and highly skilled young population that working together, we as a country can actually be, and we are, Africa's innovation powerhouse. We just need to facilitate that potential to see that we can transform.
The ministry believes that by sending Ugandan innovators to the Dubai Expo, they will experience breakthrough technologies and learn about disruptive innovations. The innovators on the traveling party we talked to couldn't agree anymore.
Being able to present this, the expo, will give us the opportunity to reach a wider audience and be able to present to the world what Ugandan innovation can do on a global stage. So we believe with what we're trying to put down, there'll be a lot of value for us at the expo.
A panel discussion composed of main players in the ICT and innovation sector set the tone for the day, deliberating on ways how Uganda can develop a successful innovation sector. Samuel Senono, UBC News.
The Osukuru Phosphate plant is on the brink of becoming a white elephant project after stalling for at least 2 years. Located in the Uganda Free Zones Industrial Complex at Osukuru in Tororo District, the multi-billion-dollar plant launched in 2018 has failed to live up to its expectation.
This once neat and organized manufacturing plant, employing over 1,000 people, is a shadow of its former self. Osukuru Phosphate Fertilizer Plant in Tororo District, owned by Guangzhou Dongsuan Energy Group of China, is no longer operational.
For you, the Chinese, how can you come and struggle here until a project in Uganda is suspended? It should have been other people. You think you will resolve this issue in China? Are you going to unlock this, resolve these issues of yours in the other place? Because we want to continue. We are looking at these magnificent buildings, but if nothing is done, what do we do? For Uganda government has already brought them here in good faith, and we would be happy if when we would come here now, all these things which they promised to have to do here would be carried out.
The Uganda shillings 3 trillion project, with prospects of producing 300,000 tons of